メジャー翻訳速報。
メジャー翻訳速報海外の反応へようこそ。今回は大谷選手とフレディ・フリーマンの絶好調ぶりに注目です。マーリンズとの激戦で見せた活躍、メジャー昇格したキム・ヘソン選手の心温まるインタビューもお届けします。ぜひコメントやチャンネル登録もお待ちしています。
Welcome to our Marlins Live post-game show. It's presented by Baptist Health. Freddie Freeman extending that hit streak to 12 here, but he was far from the only weapon. From Dave Roberts' Dodger Club as we welcome you again to our show, brought to you by Baptist Health. 10-1 here. The Dodgers went double digits 3 times in the 6 games. They win 5 of the 6. 55 runs in 6 games, 80 hits with Rod Allen, Craig Minervini with the details here of how the Dodgers offense just kicked it in. And again, this game had a different look. First 5 innings, Marlins were right there. In fact, had the chance to take the lead in the 5th and even take the lead in the 6th inning as well.
Well, it was a fight at the bat rack once Bayoso left the contest. Bayoso pitched 5 1/3 innings. He was sensational. I mean, he had 10 swings and misses, the most that he'd ever had in any start in the big leagues. He kept them off balance. They could do nothing against him. But then we went to the bullpen, and the bullpen struggled today. Bullpen, by and large, has been decent this year, but they really struggled today against one of the better offenses in all of baseball.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll have a conversation afterward. Again, the Marlins have made it quite clear throughout the year, and many other teams have too as well. That going through that 3rd time through the lineup, the stats get just blown up, magnified. The averages with most players are way higher the 3rd time they face a pitcher. Well, so that obviously is the reasoning to take them out.
Well, I think with the Dodgers, I mean, you just can't get caught in going to a left-hander because Ohtani's coming up and Freddie Freeman is coming up. These guys hit left-handers as well as they hit right-handers. So sometimes you got to stay with the guy that's been getting them out. I kind of like the approach that Bayoso had today against Ohtani. He walked him twice. I don't care if they'd have walked him 4 times today. Yep. Sometimes that's the kind of treatment you got to give guys like him because Freeman got loose today.
And then they intentionally walked him later. He still scored 2 runs, but he didn't knock in any runs. They made the other Dodgers beat the Marlins, and unfortunately for Miami, that's exactly what happened in this game. Freddie Freeman winds up getting 3 more hits. Boy, it's been a triples factory, too, for the Dodgers against the Marlins. He had a single in the 1st inning, an RBI hit in the 6th inning, and added with a big extra base hit later.
Well, Freddie, historically, has murdered Marlins pitching. He's just a great hitter. I mean, he came up with Ohtani on 3rd base against Gibson, the left-hander, and just sliced the ball the opposite way. So these 2 guys, I'm talking about Ohtani and Freddie Freeman, they're just special. But then you get the pitch there from Bacher down at the bottom of the strike zone. He rips that ball into the gap for a triple, and he plated 3 runs. And that's the first triple of the year for Freddie Freeman. 12-game hitting streak. The guy just gets it done. He's one of the best left-handed hitters in the sport.
See the hits there this series. He had 7 hits this series. Average over 500, big on base. The 1725 OPS in the series. He's our straight star of the game and the series, in fact. With that big 538 average, 2 homers, becomes the all-time home run man against the Marlins in franchise history by hitting 2 homers. None today, though, but he hit 2 in the series, and he's got 42. So Ryan Howard and Ryan Zimmerman, if you're watching, you're now tied for 2nd.
The one thing that's so impressive about Freddie is the fact that he is a big guy. He's 6 feet 5 inches, but he plays the game like he's a small guy. All he wants to do is hit line drives over the shortstop's head. That's his approach every single at-bat, and if you make a mistake, he'll hit it into the gap somewhere and drive the ball out of the ballpark. But he's a special talent. He's a guy that's big, strong, and physical, but doesn't necessarily play a big man's game.
Yep, it was very impressive. The Dodgers in this series, as we mentioned, were really unbelievable. Not just the one here, but also at Dodger Stadium. A few of these games were close, too. The first game was that 7-6 loss in 10 where the Marlins had the lead. They won in 10 in the game last night, but overall gave up 55 runs to the Dodgers. Which of those numbers alarms you the most if you're a Marlin?
Probably the home runs. Probably the 10 home runs, especially playing in 2 ballparks that aren't necessarily conducive to home runs. Dodger Stadium is not a home run ballpark, nor is Loan Depot Park, but they had 14 doubles, they had 6 triples, they had 10 home runs, they had 30 extra base hits against our team. 30 of the 55 hits were extra base.
Too many. 80 hits, right?
80 hits.
55 runs, but still,
yeah.
30 extra base hits. An average of 5.
You know what impressed me, though, about them,
Yeah.
too, though, is the fact that it's a great team. There's no doubt about that. It's one of the best teams on the planet. But yet they don't play down to the competition. And I'm not mean to be mean against the Marlins or whoever they go up against, because most teams will be underneath them.
Yeah.
But they still continue to go hard, and that's what Dave Roberts, their manager, he's been a stickler for that. They play hard. They don't give away anything.
They grind out at bats. They grind out pitches. They make you work, which makes what Belloso did even more impressive, the 5 1/3. By the way, he knocked his ERA down to 3.50. So that was the real positive for the Marlins. This game was scoreless. Now, remember, the 5th inning was big because Ramirez led off with a double, but they could not advance him, didn't even get him over to third base. There were 2 outs after that. Maybe he could have went on the fly ball to right field. I thought he could have tagged up on that Dane Myers one. But then Sanoa hit it hard and could not get him home. So they had 3 chances to get that first run, which is huge in this series. They couldn't do it. Then in the 6th inning, yeah, that was a tough out there because you get a base hit, you might take the lead all of a sudden. An extra base hit with a runner on or a home run, obviously, would give you the lead. So 1-0, and the game just completely changed with Belloso out there, and the Marlins bullpen struggled. Gibson immediately came in. Bacher had his problems as well, along with Phillips, who gave up 3 in the 9th inning. What about Belloso's day? What impressed you?
I thought he was good. I mean, I thought he had a game plan coming in. He didn't use his split-fingered fastball probably to the 3rd or 4th inning, but he kept Ohtani off balance. As a matter of fact, he walked Ohtani twice, and then Ramirez threw him out. But he threw some good breaking pitches. I told you earlier, in the 76 pitches that he threw, he had 10 swings and misses. And Belloso's not known as a guy that gets swings and misses, but his stuff was floating all over the strike zone. When they were looking for fastballs, they got breaking balls. And when they were looking for breaking balls, he was able to throw that fastball by them. And something else with Belloso today, he touched 94 today several times with his fastball. And Belloso's a guy that usually does not get in the mid-90s with his heater, but obviously a little amped up today going up against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
He answered the call. Good for him with his 5 1/3. Again, only 1 hit allowed, only 2 walks. He struck out 7, and he has kept that home run ball in the ballpark this year. In fact, they didn't really do much of anything. He had them off balance throughout. Great job by him.
There was a fight at the bat rack when Belloso left the game.
The big inning and the big moments of the game were the Marlins not being able to score in the 5th and the 6th. And then obviously the Dodgers' 7th inning when they scored 6 runs. By the way, a couple of those walks, 3 of the walks scored in that inning.
Yep,
and we
one of
showed
them
you
intentional.
The big triple by Freeman was in the 6th. Let's hear from Clayton McCullum.
I think he did a terrific job. I think with where he got us to and what part of the lineup they were at and what we had, we felt really good with the ability to, use what we had left in areas that we felt very good with, and that, Valente couldn't have asked anything more. I mean, to get into the 6th inning today as efficiently as he did, and I just felt good about, who we had left and who they were going to match up best against, and so that's why went to Cade there at the top as it rolled through, and unfortunately it just didn't work out today, but liked how it was set up for those guys that were coming in behind him.
What made Belloso so good?
I think it was, everything was like he just got into a good rhythm, the ability to used his fastball and his cutter real well, and he could use the changeup and curveball also to keep him off balance. So I think it was you could tell right from the beginning, very aggressive mentality, and he was, in the strike zone very well. Got him in swing mode, and then the ability to kind of work both sides and change speed. So, outstanding by him today.
We went on to see Austin's Ohtani thrown out, just the nice throw, the whole sequence for Augustine.
Yeah, when we talked, a lot about, Gus, a big part of his, development now moving forward, ability to continue, behind the plate, and he's received very well. I mean, I think, for him, the work he's putting in with Joe, working hard on his throwing, and that was a, really strong, accurate throw today to get Shohei. So, credit to him and Joe for their continued work there and the emphasis being placed upon that. And, I think that'll just be, continuing on as the season goes. It continue to place a lot of emphasis on, tightening up all areas behind the plate. But he's doing a really nice job back there for us.
And what about, I guess, something that we can't really quantify as much, the game calling? Maybe how much he might have played a factor in helping Belloso through?
I think what he's been good with the conversations he has before the game with Daniel alone, who the starting pitcher is going to be, they're having a good plan going into it, and then also that ability, during the game between innings, with who's coming up and how things are moving at that point to, troubleshoot on the fly. And I think that, he's doing a very good job. And it's hard, that position as a young player, to be able to slow things down in the moment, especially when there gets some traffic. But you can, hopefully, with the continued opportunity, he's getting an experience, he's gaining. It'll just continue to come, get better and better on that front. But I think his openness to taking in, those conversations and feedback between innings and going out there to apply it is a really great sign.
He also limited them to just one hit through 5 1/3. I'm just curious, why did you like that matchup with Gibson so much more than rather letting Beoso stay?
Yeah, I think he had done for me exactly what I was hoping for out of Beoso today, to get that far, and then, again, Shohei and the top coming back up for the 3rd time, and again, liked what we had down in the bullpen to piece the rest of the game together. So that's why I made that decision today.
At what point, on that line, you maybe see something in one of the starters? I know Beoso is just kind of a rookie in this league, that you might go and say, maybe I can try this 3rd time against a big hitter like Shohei. It's different than the rest of the others, but
right.
When a big hitter like him, maybe.
I think it is, he threw terrifically, and it's how he's been throwing, and then you don't ever know what's going to happen, the next time. And, so it didn't work out today. But I think just, going into it with what I think is the best way to maximize, whoever's starting and what the game state is, and then also what we have available, and how, trying to put them in a position as well to have the best chance to go out and have success. So, today, thought that what Beoso did what he did, it was great, and got us into an awesome spot in the game with plenty left, and a bullpen that I felt great with how we're going to try to deploy them to get through it.
Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers. I'm John Harton alongside Jerry Hurston Jr., Nomar Garcia-Parr. You guys said this was a must-win game for the Dodgers. They responded in a big way. They take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins in Miami. This on the heels of them taking 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. And we saw Landon Knack and Matt Sauer, both guys called up before this game. They covered the entire 9 innings of this game. And the offense really struggled with a glare early on in this game, and also struggled against Valente Beoso. But once they got him out of the game and they could see Nomar, it was on for that offense.
Yeah, I mean, they might tell Clayton McCullough, thank you for taking Beoso out. So either he was pitching well first and foremost, so you got to tip your hat to him. He looked really good, and then there might have been some difficulty seeing, but nonetheless, after he comes out of the game, the offense really got going. What was really impressive is that every spot in the lineup ended up scoring except one spot. So that's telling you up and down the lineup, they were getting the job done. And listen, you really got to tip your hat to both Landon Knack and Matt Sauer, just to be able to finish that with well-needed rest for the rest of that bullpen. How critical that was. Those 2 guys getting the job done. Great job.
That is a great point. Landon and Matt, outstanding job. Once again, we need that rest. This is a long road trip. Now you're going to fly back to Arizona. We talked about in the pregame show a must-win. The boys watch our pregame show, so there's a sense of urgency, John. We put it on them. Hey, must win. They came out and did just that.
They certainly responded today. And how about Hae-Sung Kim? His first 3 big league starts in this series. He got a base hit in all 3 games. 2 hits today and an RBI, and a post-game interview right now with Kirsten Watson.
Hae-Sung, you've now had 3 straight starts. Just how comfortable are you feeling playing at the big league level and the success that you've been having as of late?
그래서 오늘까지 3일 연속 이제 선발 출장하고 있어요. 그래서 좀 얼마 정도 좀 편해졌고, 지금 느낌이 어떠신지요?
아직 뭐 그렇게 편해진 건 잘 모르겠고, 그래도 첫날보다는 많이 나아진 것 같습니다.
Still, but way comfortable than first day, the starting day.
And to get things going offensively, just what is your mindset at the plate in which you're trying to contribute to this offense?
그래서 공격 부분에서 타석에 들었을 때 팀이 어떤 부분에서 좀 기여하려고 하셨었나요?
그냥 항상 말했듯이 제가 뭐 홈런을 치는 타자도 아니고 홈런을 바라지 않는 것 같아서 저는 일단 루상에 나갔을 때 더 팀에 도움이 되는 선수이기 때문에 어떻게든 루상에 나가려고 하고 있습니다.
Like I always said, I'm not a home run hitter. I'm not a power hitter. It's more important to get on base. And then once I get on base, I think I can contribute to the team.
Just in considering all of the adjustments that you made to your swing, seeing the results to come, that has to feel rewarding.
여태까지 스윙 조정을 계속 해왔었었는데 그게 이제 좀 결과로 나오는 것 같아요. 그런 부분에서 또 어떻게 생각하시는지요?
네, 다행히 팀에서 알려주신 부분을 연습하다 보니까 이렇게 결과가 좋게 나온 것 같은데 네, 앞으로도 열심히 해야 될 것 같습니다.
Luckily, the results comes along what the team what the team taught me, and then I still have to work hard.
How special is it having an incredible group of veterans just around you? I saw Miguel Rojas talking to you and Andy after that play in the outfield.
아까 앤디 파이스도 그랬고 미겔 로하스가 계속 이렇게 얘기해주고 이런 되게 엄청난 또 팀에서 같이 많은 좋은 구성원들과 뛰고 있는데 어떠신지요?
일단 너무 좋고 제가 모르는 게 많잖아요. 처음이라 그런 것들을 너무 친절하게 먼저 와서 알려주기 때문에 야구를 하는 데 있어서 너무 좋은 것 같습니다.
You know, it's awesome that this is my first year. I have a lot of questions and I have a lot of things that I don't know. But to be honest, everyone is being nice and then they tell me what to do. So it's been great.
Hae-sung, congratulations on this series win.
오늘 위닝 시리즈 축하드립니다.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great day for Hae-sung Kim and also for Freddie Freeman, who extended his hitting streak in this game to 12 in a row. He had a 3-hit game. He knocked in 4 runs. Look at this. Look at these numbers over the last 12 games. Hitting .478. The OPS almost 1,404 bombs, but how about 18 RBIs in 12 games? He scored 11 runs. Jerry, that's why it was an easy shot call for me today by going with Freddie Freeman because he had another big day in Miami.
Yeah, way to go out on a limb there,
Yep,
John.
that's what I do.
Fat Freddie just owns the Marlins. Once again, he is a professional hitter, rocket up the middle, scrub up baseball. We talked about it earlier. It was really tough to see for these hitters early in the ballgame because there was a glare in center field. I love this approach here. Picking up the RBI after my called shot, Shohei Ohtani triple. Outstanding job once again. This ball is down. It is a ball, but he's able to get the barrel to it, and he's on his horses. Triple for Fab Five Freddie. Bases clearing triple for him. He's a professional hitter, does it in so many different ways.
You know, everything you said, Jerry, was spot on about how good and how great Freddie Freeman. I'm curious to see if, you know, if he said, listen, put me in the lineup 1 because I'm swinging the bat really well and feeling pretty good, or 2, he might be saying, listen, we have a couple of guys hurt right now and out. We need to win this series. I like to be, you know, helpful in that because we know he doesn't like to come out. Right. You know, even though they were saying, oh, scheduled day off, give him some rest. He's like, I'm not coming out, but I think he also heard Jerry say must win. So he's like, he's right. I got to go out there and play.
He's exactly right, because it was supposed to be a scheduled day off for Freddie, but he probably told Dave, listen, I had plenty of days off.
Way too hot.
When I was on the IL, so I'm rested. I'm ready to go. We got to win this ball game.
All right, Dodgers did win this ball game. Let's head back to the booth in Miami. Check in one final time with Steven Nelson and Eric Karros. Carl's Jr. moment of the game, Jerry. Bases loaded for Fab Five Freddie, and this triple breaks it open.
It sure does. This ball is down the zone. This is a pitcher's pitch, but this is how talented Freddie Freeman is. Bat to ball skills is important. He is elite. Bases clearing triple. Fab Five Freddie.
Dodgers go on to win it 10-1. They take 2 out of 3 from the Miami Marlins at Loan Depot Park. It's going to be a happy flight for the guys to Phoenix, Arizona for that 4-game series. But first, let's hear from the skipper, Dave Roberts, with Kirsten and the media.
First with Landon Knack, just of course out of the game we talked about him being efficient and effective. How did he do just that today?
Landon was fantastic. You know, coming here a day ago and being ready to pitch and appreciating what we were up against and to be efficient, go out there and keep us in a ball game, throw the baseball really well. And then to be able to hand it off to Sauer and do what he always does and fills up the strike zone and keeps the pace of play. And, you know, to use those 2 guys today, considering where we were at, feel a lot different than we did last night. And so now pen is reset and get ready for Arizona.
Freddie, you were able to get him off his feet late in the game, but just to see what he's been able to do offensively, is this probably the best you've seen him, especially this year?
Best we've seen him this year. I do think that he's certainly managing the ankle, but he's seeing the baseball really well, taking good swings. And so, yeah, you know, in the middle of 10 in a row, and I know we talked about potentially giving him a day off today, but, you know, in talking to him, he feels good and he's seeing the baseball well. So any chance we can get him off his feet, we've done that. But, you know, today was good. It was close until it wasn't, and it was just that big 6-run inning was big and just taking really good at-bats.
When he was coming off the IL, you talked about him trying to find a new normal. Do you feel like he found a new normal, or is it him just getting back to where he was before the ankle?
I actually think this is a new normal. I think that with his swing, the lower half, it's a little different than it was, than it has been throughout his career. But I think this is kind of what, like I said before, a new normal for him, and he's finding ways to make good on it and feel comfortable while doing it.
What happened with Phillips?
He's just had some arm soreness. It's just not recovering. And could he have pitched today? Absolutely. I just don't know. No one knows how he would feel responding going forward. So I think for us, it just made the most sense to IL him. And our expectation is on that 16th day, he'll be back active. So it's just more of a precaution.
All right, tomorrow the Dodgers are opening up a 4-game series against the Diamondbacks in Arizona. It's going to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto getting the ball, looking to improve to 4-2, or on his 4-2 record. Jerry has a 0.9 ERA this season.
He has been outstanding at the start of the season. Listen, more of the same. The D-backs are playing pretty good baseball. They always want to get a little get back at the Dodgers. Got to come ready to play.
Early on, I want to see how sharp he is. One, we know it's different to pitch in Arizona. The ball doesn't kind of move or break the same way. The other thing, though, too, it's a shortened rest than what he's used to. He's not once a week, so we'll see. I'm hoping he's what we've seen so far.
It's going to be a fun 4-game series for Jerry, Nomar, and Kirsten. I'm John. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:30 here on Sportsnet LA.
いかがでしたか？大谷選手を敬遠した結果、フリーマン選手が走者一掃の三塁打を放つという展開。見事でしたね。キム・ヘソン選手の出塁してチームに貢献したいというコメントも印象的でした。この動画が面白かったと思った方はチャンネル登録、高評価お願いいたします。ご視聴ありがとうございました。